ya na batu ni banu wasata ba.
Diga na singa moto sawo tia tau tunaru. Agora singa ni ua e mai enragi tampo na panu. Yamba na bimbulo, yamba ni kia tama te tana tana o te tamu i tatani lewe la baga.
Laissez-vous. La banane nous va te tuer quoi?
Ouais. Protocol. After the guideline of our chief guest, we'll have the introduction of our chief guest, followed by the keynote by our chief guest, the Honorable
For the past 2 days, I've been in the Western Division. Last night I was in Tavua, at Tavua Primary School. Earlier on in the day was Botolevu. The day before that at Sri Vivekanand College. And the reason why we go to this prize-giving ceremonies is that we as a government and our leader, Prime Minister Benny Marama, believe that the future or the children really are our future. As you know, we made education free. The reason why we made education free because no child in Fiji must not be uneducated. Whether you live in a village like Namoli, or whether you live in Suva, whether you live in Ra, or you live in Vanalevu, Rotuma or Lau, every child must have access to education. It should not matter whether you're rich or poor. It should not matter whether you live in a city town or whether you live in a rural area, whether you live on an island or whether you live on Viti level. Every child must have access to education because they are our future. Today, ladies and gentlemen, nearly 70% of our population is below the age of 40. To be exact, 69.6% of the population is below the age of 40. So we believe as a government we have the responsibility to look after our young people. If we educate them, these young children here, in 15, 20 years' time, they'll become parents. They'll want to look for work. They'll want to they may become business people. One of the children over here may be a good nurse, maybe a good lawyer, a good engineer, maybe a good marine scientist, land surveyor. We want to encourage them to be able to do the best, the area of interest, and we want to provide that for them. Some of you may not know this, but After primary school, in high school, we made it free. If when they finish high school, if they want to go to university and they don't get a scholarship and they get a place in university, we'll still pay for them. And they can pay us back once they start working. It's a soft loan. Those below a particular income level, there's no interest. So in about 4 or 5 years' time, we'll have all these people, young people in Fiji, who will have a diploma, who will have a degree. We've also set up 13 technical colleges. You may know that the Navosa provincial school that is in Duvu has now been converted to a technical college. So people can learn joinery, carpentry, pastry making, tile laying, all those sorts of things they can learn. And those short courses are free. One of the reasons we've done that is because not every child wants to become an engineer or a lawyer. They may be very good with their hands. They may be good boat builders. So we want to encourage them to do that too. And there's a shortage of those skills in Fiji at the moment. Today there's so much construction going on in Fiji that some construction companies are bringing people from Indonesia because we don't have that many tile layers in Fiji. So obviously our job is to make sure that Fijians get the first priority. All Fijians must be given the jobs before we get expatriates coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to tell you about the upgrade of the hospital up here at the KRC, the station. As you know, there's a health center there. I've just seen the plans and we are calling for tenders, and by February we'll start work on the new hospital that's going to be set up in KRC. At the moment there's only about 5 or 6 beds there. We'll have 22 beds once it's completed. We are hoping that that hospital should be completed within about 13 to 15 months' time from the start of the commencement time. So what we want, we also will have some minor operations can be done there once it's completed. You'll have 22-bed hospital there, and women, for example, who want to give birth, if the family want to go with them, there'll be a place for them to stay too, because we know it's a long distance. And some of the villages are quite far away. So if the families go with them, they need a place to stay at least for a night or two. So we're also making those provisions. So God willing, by April or May of 2018, you should have the new hospital there. And the reason why we're doing that, ladies and gentlemen, is because we believe that, like I said, all Fijians in any part of Fiji must have equal access. And this is why if you go down, for example, to Nandi, if you go down to Singatoka, you'll see we've done a lot of tar sealing coming towards this way, up the Valley Road. We want to do more and more of that because everybody must have access to good services. We're also hoping to get better network coverage, telephone coverage. I was driving here and of course the signal fell in and out. Some people I saw hanging off a tree to get a signal. But the fact is we want to bring those services to you. I'd also like to thank you for the invitation that I received from the teacher. Was you, sir?
No.
And I'd like to thank them. In fact, I had about 3 meetings in Suva today, and I canceled that. I moved it to next week because I thought, firstly, I felt privileged for you to send me the invitation, and secondly, I thought it was very, very important for me to come here because I'd like to also hear from you firsthand what are some of the challenges and issues you have. Maybe after the formalities are over, we can have a bit of a Talanoa session. You can tell me, what your issues are, some of the problems, some maybe good things too, and then, then we can see what we can do to solve. I just noticed one thing, and when I was sitting there, I saw most of the men who were sitting here, who were doing the traditional Yangona ceremony, they're actually quite fit. If you go down to some of the kava ceremonies I've seen down the town areas, most of them have big pot bellies. So it's also the lifestyle. It's also the lifestyle, the food you eat, the exercise you do. I know a lot of you have to walk long distances. In the towns and cities, you just catch the bus. But I know you have to walk. But this is a big problem I want to highlight. In Fiji today, we have one of the highest rates of diabetes in the world. A lot of people's foot are being cut, toes are being cut because of diabetes. And high blood pressure is also rising. So please, the healthy lifestyle you have, don't eat too much jam, don't eat too much butter. All of these things are not necessarily good for us. And we must encourage that, because we cannot have our children getting sick on us all the time. So I don't want to be very long. I know the children want to receive the prizes. We want to reward them for it. But Vinaka Wakalevu for inviting me here. I thank you very much for this invitation. And I hope that I can talk to more of you informally later on after this. And thank you very much for the invitation. I wish you a good afternoon. Vinaka. Thank you.
Epeli Rokolang. Simeon Enrole. Meli Lim. Solitani Roman.
Okay, thank you very much, Vinaka.
Que